When my edges fell out, I was self-conscious. So essentially, I have reattached 6 locks in this video. Hey guys, Tiffany Ofili Porter here, where I discuss all things life after sport. In this video, I am going to show you how to reattach Sisterlocks. And with that, I'm going to give a little bit of a story time about how it was playing sports, or running track in my case, in college. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I am going to pull my hair back so I can show you my edges. I have talked about it in previous videos, but I did have some postpartum hair shedding after having my daughter, and most recently after having my son, who is now 10 months old. So I didn't have edges. They were literally falling out. In case you didn't know, you are not immune to your hair falling out even when you have locks. So I figured out a method to reattach them, and I'm going to show you how to do it in this video. So now when they first kind of fall out, you don't have hair. So you have to kind of wait until your hair grows a little bit. So as you can see here, I have a few of these like baby starter locks that my loctician just kind of reestablished. I had a retightening today, so that's why I'm doing this before I put my hair in like braids or pipe cleaners. Once your hair gets a little bit longer and you do start to get these starter locks, I reattach my locks with needle and thread. Now, before anybody comes to me talking about, oh, this is not the official Sisterlock way of doing it, mind your business. This is what I do. It's been working for me, and I'll just kind of walk you guys through the process. So when your locks do fall out, don't throw them away. If you want to reattach them, keep them. I have all of my locks here. I have black thread and, like I mentioned, a very thin needle because Sisterlocks are small, right? So let's go ahead and just reattach them. I'm going to start off with this one in the front, but basically I'm going to get it and go ahead and go through the lock that you're attaching, and essentially you're going to just sew them together. Now you're going to need to do this a few times. As you can see, I have a knot at the bottom of the thread because it needs to hold on to something, and I'm essentially just going to start sewing them together. Now I will say this is my second time doing this. I wanted to make sure that I had a little bit of experience before I made this video, just in case it didn't work. But the first time when I did it was during my last retightening, and it lasted me 6 weeks because that's my interval in between retightenings. And I will say, out of the I think 8 that I reattached, 4 of them kind of fell out today when she was doing my retightening again. So I don't know if it's the way that I was sewing them or if I just need to get some more experience in doing it. But I figured, let me create a video in case anybody wants to know of a method of reattaching their locks. I did watch a YouTube video a while ago, and the woman, bless her, it was a very useful video, but she was like braiding them to reattach the locks, and I just couldn't get that method to work for me. It just didn't work. I think because my hair was just so short. Like, I was essentially trying to reattach the locks on very tiny new baby locks. Now, obviously, it kind of goes without saying, you want to use thread that's going to match the color of your hair, so you won't be able to see white thread on black hair. But yeah, this is what I'm going to do for, I have, I think, 6 new starter locks that she started today. 4 of them did fall out. So, I mean, it was what I consider a permanent solution because it lasted me the whole length of my 6 weeks, but not necessarily permanent in the sense that I kind of have to do this every time. Now, obviously the goal would be that eventually my hair will lock over this area of vulnerability. So it is just something that I'll need to continue to do. But in the meantime, this is what I'm going to do, because I don't know about you guys, but I was just a little bit self-conscious. Like, I love my locks, obviously, but when my edges fell out, I was self-conscious. I mean, I am so grateful that they have come a long way. I'll see if I can try to find a photo of what they looked like before, but y'all, they've come a long way. And this has just kind of helped to expedite the process. Now, I do have a friend, I'm not sure if he wants me to share this information, so I won't say any names, but his locks, he cut them off and he kept them. He wanted to reattach his locks. He didn't have Sisterlocks, he had traditional locks. He just thought maybe one day I want to reattach them. And he did. I'm not sure if he used needle and thread, and I'm not sure if, you know, if the method varies based off of the type of locks you had. But for me, that kind of just like made me think like, okay, I know it's possible. And my loctician did say that she saw of a way to do it using like a crochet hook, but I was just kind of like, I need something like now. So this essentially is what I'm gonna do. Like, I just keep doing it until it feels very secure. And I'm gonna do it a couple more times, and then I'm gonna knot it and go to the next one. I did mention that I was gonna talk a little bit about my journey to competing in college. I do talk about how I ran track professionally, but I've never actually really talked much about my experience with being a student athlete while at the University of Michigan. So I was a standout athlete in high school, had loads of success, All-American, All-State, just, you know, was very, I wouldn't say highly recruited, but I was recruited by all the Michigan schools, and I actually knew that I wanted to go to the University of Michigan from a very early age. They have an amazing academic program. I knew I wanted to go into the sciences. In fact, I wanted to specifically go, I kind of go like this as well. I wanted to go into medicine at the University of Michigan, and I wanted to run track. Like, that was a dream from, I can't even remember, childhood. So the men at the University of Michigan offered me a scholarship. I didn't even take all 5 of my official visits. I signed on the dotted line like the next day, because for me, why beat around the bush? This is what I wanted. Now, somebody in a situation like that where they know that they want to go to a specific university, should you take all 5 of your visits? That's debatable. For me, I didn't want to. And if it were like a child of mine, I might encourage them to just take all 5 visits just to say that you did, because you just never know. I do not regret my time at the University of Michigan one bit. See, now you just live and you learn. See, with that one, I went through the hair instead of like the lock part. So go ahead and start that again. Yeah, so if I could do it all over again, I probably would have just taken all 5 of my visits just to, you know, see other universities. It all worked out. I loved the University of Michigan. I met my husband there, my best friends, my bridesmaids. They were all my college teammates. So I certainly have very fond memories of the University of Michigan, and my time while running there was incredible as well. So freshman year of college, actually I won Big Tens, and then went to the World Junior Championships my freshman year of college. And I think that competition, I went on and got bronze. My very first global medal was at the World Junior Championships in 2006. I'm dating myself. Yes, I know I'm old. Don't come for me. And that was a pivotal moment in my career, even though I wasn't necessarily there as a student athlete, you know, at the University of Michigan. It translated directly to my time while running track at the University of Michigan, because I competed against the best in the world and I beat the best in the world in my age division. I said, oh, this is what it kind of feels like to get, you know, a similar world like championship experience and to just see like the best athletes. And I think after that year, I had a newfound like determination to like make my mark while running at the University of Michigan. So after that competition, that fall, I was ready. Like I took preseason so seriously, and it was like a new Tiff almost. Like I've always loved track, and nobody on this earth could say that I'm not a hard worker. So it wasn't a matter of, oh, I was like lazy before, but it was just like a new fire was lit under me. So yeah, my teammates and I, we were dialed in, had really good preseason training. And that season, my teammate Joy Smith died. That was in 2007. May she rest in peace. And, you know, it was just a very difficult time for the whole team. And I just remember like being at the World Championship, being at the NCAA Championships, just distraught, thinking about her, and just the, you know, it's a lot to lose a teammate to cancer. It was heavy. So I remember, you know, that meet not going that well. Not saying that that was the reason, but in hindsight, when you're carrying a lot as an athlete, it can kind of affect you holistically. So outdoors, I went and won NCAAs in 2007 in the 100 hurdles. And after that, literally, that was the first of 5 consecutive NCAA titles. I didn't lose another NCAA championship after that day, after that meet. And I think once I started seeing like, okay, winning is fun. I loved winning. I hated losing more. So winning was fun, but it was one of the situations where I just did not want to lose. I think that mentality just made me go super hard in practice. All right, let me show you real quick how to knot this once you've done enough. So you see how you have the hoop here? You're gonna go through, literally, and that is it. That's how you end, or how you knot when you're sewing. I might just do it one more time just to kind of show you how it goes. See, there you go. You go all the way down, and that is it. So we have 2 down, 4 more to go. So while at the University of Michigan, I had 2 amazing coaches, Coach James Henry, and Coach Arnett Chisholm. They were my direct like hurdles coaches. I also long jumped in college. That's a little known fact. Many people don't know that about me because I just had so much success in the hurdles that nobody really realizes that I was a jumper, and I really liked the long jump. In fact, one could argue I might like it even more than the hurdles. I just so happen to be better at the hurdles. But it was just such an amazing experience competing in college. Met some incredible people. I will say one of the intangibles competing in college teaches you is time management. I was in a very rigorous course load. I was like a pre-pharmacy student while, you know, trying to compete and be the absolute best athlete. And you only have 24 hours a day. And I was somebody who wanted to have an active social life because that's a huge part of college. I mean, as a student athlete, yeah, you can be the best athlete, best student, but you need to find a tribe and find community. So I was juggling a lot, as does every student athlete. And I think having time management, first of all, I mean, I had been a student athlete my whole life, right? So it's something that you kind of practice and get better at. You don't just wake up and become a student athlete at a university. You do it throughout middle school, high school, and learn like the ins and outs of doing it. But those soft skills that you learn from being a student athlete are still beneficial to this very day. So now I'm no longer tasked with being a student athlete and having to juggle that particular workload. But I have a lot going on now still. And again, I know how to prioritize my day. I know how to make those lists and kind of have those top 3 to 5 tasks that need to be accomplished in a day. And I know how to get it done. I've had a lot of practice in doing so. So that is one thing that being a student athlete at the University of Michigan did teach me, and that I am very grateful for. And also, it's funny because track in particular is a very unique sport in that, yes, I have teammates. You know, if you run a relay, you literally have like actual like people that you're running with together on the track. But I mean, we all know, in case you don't actually, but track is an individual sport. So yes, I have teammates, but it's kind of one of those unique sports, similar to swimming and diving, gymnastics, some of these other individual sports where you are competing against yourself, you're competing against the clock, and you're just trying to be better than you were the day before. And that type of sport, or that type of, I guess, approach to sport really resonates with my personality. So I like working in teams. I like people, but at the same time, I also like relying on myself. So track was just that perfect balance where I was able to have that camaraderie where we all show up at practice together and we push each other and we work together. And it's like we're in this together, but at the same time, you can't run these 60 hurdles for me. I have to go out there and do it for myself. So it's like kind of like the best of both worlds. Now I'm talking specifically of college track because professional track is a completely different beast. Matter of fact, let me know in the comments below if you want me to do a video comparing and contrasting how different professional track is from college track, because it is almost unrecognizably different. But anyway, so college track, you have that team aspect, but yeah, you also are able to kind of, you know, do the work on your own and be responsible solely for your own particular results. So that is something that I really like, and it definitely does cater to my personality. And as much as I love going out there and watching basketball and football, I just couldn't imagine my literal result being dependent on somebody else's performance, you know, unless it's like a relay. But I did a few relays here and there, but that wasn't my main thing. All of my Sisterlock girlies, I hope you are enjoying this content. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you want to see more Sisterlock content. Those seem so far to be performing the best on my channel, so we can definitely make this a whole thing where we do a lot of Sisterlock content. I do like to do them as like chit-chatty videos because I do know not everybody's here for Sisterlocks, so it's like something that can benefit all parties involved. Another thing that I loved about playing sports in college is the relationships that I built. I mentioned that some of my closest girlfriends were my bridesmaids. Shout out to Gina Gall. She's not Gall anymore, but shout out to Gina. Shout out to Amber. Shout out to Sarita. Shout out to Casey. They were all my bridesmaids in my wedding, and those were my teammates on the track team as well. So it just goes back to show that at the end of the day, we were teammates, but we actually were like legit friends as well. And I still talk to them to this very day. In fact, I was on the group chat with Casey, Amber, and Sarita just earlier today, in fact. So let's go ahead and do this next one. One thing I also loved about college was not only the relationships that I built with my teammates, but also my coaches. So Coach Henry and Coach Chiz both coached me post-collegiately for a few years as well. As you probably know, I ran track for 12 years after college. And of those 12 years, Coach Henry and Coach Chiz coached me for, I want to say like 3 or 4 of those years. and we were able to do our thing. I broke two British records under their tutelage. And I got a world championship medal, a European medal. Like we were able to make it do what it do. And I think that kind of just goes to show that in the track world, sometimes people assume that you have to leave your college coach and go get a professional coach immediately after to be successful. And whereas there's a time and place to make, some tough decisions and really evaluate what's going to be the best coaching fit for you, I just do want to highlight that it is case-by-case scenario and it's not a blanket statement. There is this girl that I was mentoring, and she wants to run track professionally, post-collegiately, and she was asking me on my opinion on whether or not she needs to leave her coach or whether she should stay with a college coach. My answer was, it depends. You see some athletes who were having crazy success with their college coaches, and they kept them the whole time, and they got medals, they broke records, and it worked for them. And then you see others that are like, nah, I need to get up out of here. I need to change scenery. I need a coach who understands this professional track game a little bit more, and it works for them as well. So I just think it's not a situation where it's a one-size-fits-all approach for every single athlete that wants to run track professionally. You need to really evaluate your coach, your desires, your financial situation. There's just a lot that goes into running track after college. I want to report back. I actually might do a part 2 to this lock reattachment video to see kind of where in the process these are falling off. Because in my mind, if you're just doing a retightening, I don't understand why they were falling out. I don't know if maybe over time the thread fibers were not strong. I don't know. But to be honest with you, if I have to do this reattachment after every sister lock retightening, I'm okay with that. If it means I have my edges back, baby, I am okay with that. Because like I said before, it was almost like bald, completely bald, and was just not a good look. I'm going to show you a dye stick. I've mentioned it in my previous sister lock videos, but I recently got a question about it again, and somebody asked me for the exact link of the dye stick that I use, and I'm going to put that in the description box, and I'm going to show you why I like it so much. So I've dyed my locks before. They were like a blondish color, and then I dyed them black. And this is what the stick looks like. It's called Cover Gray, and I think you get 2 of these sticks for like $8. But I do, and this is kind of what it looks like. I've been using quite a bit of it. I do just put it here on the hair, cover up them grays, and sometimes I will put it on my scalp too to just thicken up those sparse edges that have come a long way but still have a little bit of ways to go as well. One question that my husband and I get quite a bit, as he also ran track at the University of Michigan, that's where we met, and he also ran track professionally for years, went to 2 Olympics. I've talked about it before, but in case this is your first video, that's a little bit about my husband and my story. But we have 2 children, and people, being both like a family of Olympians, him and I, and now we have kids, they're like, are you gonna have your kids run track? And I think it's a fair question. And the funny thing about it is what Jeff and I are on one accord when it comes to this, but our answer is we're not going to make them do anything. We're going to teach our kids that whatever you're going to do, whether it's track, rocket science, engineering, medicine, whatever it is, what you are going to do is be the best that you can absolutely be. And I know that sounds cliche, but like legit, that is how we feel. Like if you're going to do something, then do it properly. So no, we're not going to necessarily force our children to run track. But if they want to do it, of course, we're going to welcome it. I mean, come on, like who would? It's like we both have a love for the sport. So who wouldn't want to see their little kids kind of take after them and go out there and make a name for themselves in that way. But it's funny because my daughter, so my daughter's 4.5, and one thing we're definitely not doing is starting them in track specifically this early. Now my son's 10 months and he's walking, he ain't running nowhere right now. But with our daughter, she wants to run track. Like, she sees videos and photos of us and she's like, Mommy, I want to run like you and Daddy did. And we're like, okay. And she's actually pretty fast. And I know every parent says that, but no, like, she's fast. Like, it's hard for us to keep up with her when she's like for real running. And it's so funny seeing her little form. But anyway, the point is, yes, if that's something that she wants to do, something we will encourage, but probably not until much later when she's, I don't even know, maybe middle school. Because Jeff and I, in our experience, I actually ran track a lot longer than Jeff. I started like organized track in middle school and he started in high school. But you just hear way too many stories of those athletes who've been running since 4, and then by the time they come to college, they burn out and they hate track and they're just there for a scholarship. They don't love the sport anymore. It's no longer fun. We want to prevent that, because if it does end up being the case where they want to run track, then we want them to, you know, be successful and kind of give them the tools to do it like long-term and make it a long-term play. So that is one thing that that's kind of our approach right now. That's how we feel right now. Things can change. My daughter might wake up one day and say, no, I'm running track tomorrow and you guys can't do anything about it. And then we're going to be running track because she runs things over here. Just kidding, but not really. My daughter is a diva, little sassy self, but my mom tells me that she is a little me. I don't want this video to get super long, so I think this might be the last one that I show you on this video because I respect your guys' time. But I would love to learn down in the comments what kind of videos you guys would love to see. I am a creator and I create content that is useful for you guys. So, you know, if there's ever any questions that you guys have, meet me down in the comments. I literally respond to everybody pretty promptly too, because I get alerts whenever I get YouTube, you know, messages or notifications, and I always get so pleasantly surprised, like, or just so like pleased, like, ooh, somebody's in my comments, and I love it because YouTube is my new baby, and I really am huge on community, even if it's an online community, even if we've never met before, y'all. Like, we can be friends, like, for real. So never feel like weird messaging me or, you know, commenting and all that good stuff, because I respond to everybody. You take the time to comment to me, I'm gonna take the time to comment right back at you. I always find it weird when like creators or influencers think they're too cool to respond to people and just leave people on red. That just never sat well with me. Now, I'm not a huge creator yet. By God's grace, one day. So I understand that sometimes it's more of a matter of just, I don't have the bandwidth to respond to everybody, but I'm not there yet. And if I ever get there, I'm gonna still be responding. As you can see here, I still have a tiny bit, like, this is not how it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to have hair here. So, you know, it is what it is. It's still part of the postpartum hair shedding. If that's the case, you guys get the cover gray and you can kind of just like fill it in a little bit and, you know, just give yourself a little bit of thickness to those thinning edges. Guys, look at this scalp though. My grid is still going strong 6 years later. I have had 4 technically locticians in that time, and they all have done me well with the grid, because one of my locticians was not technically certified. She knows how to do Sisterlocks, but she's not like a Sisterlock consultant. So sometimes, little known fact, you do have to be careful when you go to a Sisterloctician who is not certified, because they can mess up your grid if they don't know exactly what they're doing. So that is something to keep in mind. So essentially, I have reattached 6 locks in this video. And that is it. I'm about to go to bed, y'all. I am tired. It has been a long weekend, but I do hope that this video was useful. And let me know down in the comments if you want me to report back on whether or not any of them fall out after my next retightening. And as always, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to join the family. And I will see you guys in the next video. I really hope that you enjoyed this one. Peace.